Jennifer Negon, great to see you this week. Negon, starting with you, the Danger Cats were selling a t-shirt with Robert Pickton's face on it. Family members of his victims and others, of course, were disgusted by that. And it comes, to light at a time when Pickton has been eligible to apply for day parole. What are your thoughts on this?
You'd only create a marketable or a sellable item like this if you want to profit off the pain and trauma of other people's. Clearly, these guys, these individuals, have very little respect for the families or the issue at large. And if they had any knowledge whatsoever of the history and circumstances which involve things like stereotypes and representation and treating Indigenous women like they're lesser than, they would understand of the severity of what they've done, and particularly how important it is to be sensitive on this issue, considering the circumstances that Pickton is looking at. I don't think he's going to get parole. I think there'll be, cooler heads have got to prevail in this issue and keep him in prison. But at the same time, just making light of this issue in any way is really the most epitome of kind of a privilege of white maleness that is really, really offensive.
Jennifer, at least on the cesspool formerly known as Twitter, it seems that these guys do have quite a bit of support out there. Where do we draw the line between freedom of speech and espousing hate?
I think that's a really good question. I think what we're seeing here is, exactly that word, privilege. I think about the victims of these families. Some of them had kids, and the last known ties that they have to their family members that went missing is the DNA found on Pickton's farms. And now they're being resubjected to potentially going through another trauma-filled process because he's eligible to apply for day parole. So how do you find humor in that? What part is funny? And to me, it's a matter of creativity. If that's where you're going because you can't find creativity in any other areas, then I think that says a lot.
Negon, a number of venues, including in Winnipeg and Thunder Bay, had canceled shows. This was after people were speaking up, contacting venues about concerns, some of their material making light of suspected unmarked graves as well at residential schools. But looks like they might even have a sold-out show here in Winnipeg tonight. So, what does this say to you that people are willing to shell out for these guys?
At a location TBA, a mysterious location, which tells you about, is this really going to happen? Are they just going to spring this a couple hours ahead of time? And clearly what they're looking for is controversy creates cash, and the kind of ways in which we, by just giving them attention, are doing exactly what they want, which is to sort of shed light on the most offensive person yelling fire in a crowded theater. And so now all of us are turning our heads and looking towards people who generally have nothing more important to say and nothing of value to say. And this kind of comedy, this kind of humor of shock jock has a long history. It doesn't begin with this issue, but it certainly is one in which it comes and goes. Think back in the days of Andrew Dice Clay, for example, or all the different people that have said the most offensive, misogynistic, hating things for particularly women and racial minorities. These things come and go over time. The key for us is to try to find a balance in not giving it gasoline or attention, at the same time calling it out when it needs to be called out, and help our relatives who think that this is funny, or to think that they've been conditioned to think that it's funny, to help them understand that this is not the kind of civil discourse that we need in our society.
Jennifer, kind of on that point, the Danger Cats are saying they shut down their shows themselves for safety reasons, concerns for the venues, that they're giving money from the Pickton shirts to Ukraine. I'd be willing to guess most people have never heard of them before this controversy. Are they successfully trolling everyone here, including the media, and having the last laugh?
They might be. I'm one of the people that had never heard of them before this. I actually had to ask my husband if he had actually heard of them, and went to the YouTube and didn't see a whole lot of views or anything like that. So I think they had been popular at one point, and now what we're seeing is almost exactly that shock value coming back, maybe to increase that popularity or to become relevant again if they ever were. But yeah, I agree with not spending too much energy on fueling the fire with these people, but I also think calling it out is important and making sure that people like this understand that it's harmful, and You know, I'm sure everyone can point to someone that they've dealt with in their life before that, you know, turns the argument around on you like, oh, of course you're offended, or of course you think it's too far. It's like, yeah, I do. I think if there's victims involved that have to relive trauma and you're trying to profit off of that, I don't think that that's okay.
Jennifer and Egon, we'll have to leave it there. Appreciate you spending your time with us this week.
Great. Thanks.
Bye.